Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone studios. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl 59 champions. 40-22, the final in New Orleans over the Kansas City Chiefs. Vic Fangio's defense stifling Kansas City, turning over Patrick Mahomes 3 times, sacking him 6 times. A pick 6 in there as well by rookie defensive back Cooper DeJean. Jalen Hurts won Super Bowl MVP, going 17 of 22 for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, plus 72 yards rushing and a touchdown. In other NFL news, Adam Schefter reported Sunday that the Jets are expected to part ways with quarterback Aaron Rodgers, with a formal announcement expected in the coming days. Latest AP poll is out in both men's and women's basketball. Tennessee Lady Vols moving 4 spots up to number 15 after beating UConn but losing to LSU last week. Tennessee men's hoops dropping 1 spot to 5 after going 2-0 last week. Auburn, the number 1 team in the country. Alabama at 2. Florida 3. Duke 4. Tennessee, the 5th-ranked team in the country. Vols will take on Kentucky on the road tomorrow. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to talk about the Super Bowl last night, where the Philadelphia Eagles crushed the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22, and it was not as close as that makes it sound. So I kind of want to start with this. Because there's a lot of discussion that can be had about the Super Bowl and the ramifications and the meanings and all this stuff. Did Patrick Mahomes go out and party? Like, did he not look just absolutely tired? Bags under his eyes on the sideline? Like, I'm watching that game. I have Stoney and his wife over, and had our friends Matt and Kat over, and we're all just like looking at him at every shot on the sideline. It looked like he hadn't slept in days. And that was a weird performance by him. And I understand that the pocket was kind of collapsing quickly around him, but there was also certain situations where I felt he held onto the ball too long, and he's running into pressure. Like, what happened in New Orleans this week to get Patrick Mahomes off his game?
Well, you know, there's voodoo and stuff like that down there.
Well,
in New
Tom
Orleans.
Brady was in the booth.
You better watch it. I know everybody said that. So, I think, the Eagles, I didn't even realize this myself because I hadn't watched them that closely. The Eagles felt like they lost the Super Bowl 2 years ago. When you talk to the people down there, I talked to Ike Reese and Hugh Douglas, former teammates of mine, and who do radio down there. And they said that they thought they would have won that Super Bowl if they didn't make the turf so slippery. And then I go, oh, I do remember that. But I didn't know that was really the main excuse coming from their side of it.
This kind of sounds like a lame excuse, by the way.
Well,
because the Chiefs play on the same
right. Well, they were saying that the turf was slippery.
Yeah.
But actually, the Chiefs were on the side. They didn't have a phenomenal defense, but they had Mr. Chris Jones. I mean, so obviously they're pretty good. He's pretty good. So that was kind of their narrative from 2 years ago. This year, they felt like if their front four could get after, which I didn't think was as dominant as they were in this game. And that hence then can make even great quarterbacks look normal. And he looked rattled from the beginning
he looked
of the
super
game.
rattled.
And I couldn't believe it because I had never seen him look like that. And it continued. And they kind of lost me in the second half. I mean, they didn't even get past the 50-yard line to like the third quarter, right?
Yeah, it was dreadful.
It was so much domination there. And, the Chiefs' offensive line isn't like horrible. I mean, they're solid.
Well, Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith are 2 offensive linemen that throughout all the way up until maybe this game, I haven't been able to look at the PFF stats, haven't allowed a sack all year so far, until this game. Yeah, two offensive linemen, so you got 0 sacks.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to give credit to not only the players and the defense, Vic Fangio, and what they put together there and their game plan. And I really believe it was stapled off of the loss to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
The Chiefs. And remember, I predicted Tampa Bay would win because of their front four. I did not predict that this game because I didn't realize that the Eagles' front four was like that. Like, I hadn't seen that in a while. I don't know if it was fresh legs or not. I'm not big on giving excuses for Mahomes or any other player for how they perform. At the end of the day, they got their butts whooped in the trenches, first and foremost. And you know what it reminded me, and I hope the Titans and the Titans fans are watching. Even the great quarterbacks, without protection, you are not going to be great, period. So it
was shocking.
But now I want you to take it here because my view was always going to be for the Titans. If Mahomes would have played behind the Titans' offensive line, how great would he have been this season? Would he have been just solid? Because he is
just
Mahomes.
Solid.
Yeah, he would have been,
because there is that floor with Mahomes, right?
He wouldn't have gone, right. And so he would have been better than Will Levis.
We didn't see a game like this from Patrick Mahomes since probably the Tampa Bay game. I feel like, even in that Tampa Bay game, he played well.
You can still, But
he was getting his butt whipped just like this.
It was.
And then I believe some people kind of have brought up the Chiefs-Titans regular season game in 2021.
Right, 2020. Mm-hmm.
But this was on another level.
Yeah.
This has me questioning, and it sounds insane, but I'm like looking at him and Travis Kelce on the sideline. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, he has some drops, and he did this the last time, though, but then he recovered, Kelce, that is. So I just think they got outplayed, and I just think the Eagles wanted it more.
And I believe Jordan DeJean is right again, by the way. If I recall, on our show, he picked the Eagles and the points and all that kind of stuff, and he nailed it. He nailed it.
And the defense played phenomenal for the Eagles, but Jalen Hurts, he did what he did. Not as effective stat-wise. I thought he should have got the MVP, even though he lost. I know that sounds weird 2 years ago. You go look up his numbers. I said this last week when you were in the Senior Bowl. Jalen Hurts, people need to quit talking about like he's some second fiddle quarterback. I'm sorry, man.
So
the guy,
here's the thing about that,
I'm not saying he's elite.
Right.
But you got to start, if he does something back-to-back or in the next 2 or 3 years, goes and wins another one, I think people just want to put him in this category that he's not elite because maybe they don't like his style, maybe they don't like his quietness or how he goes about his business, whatever it be. But every time he's in a big game,
that's the thing.
I seen him perform.
His team gets him there.
Yep.
And listen, his defense showed up, and I was kind of thinking maybe someone on the defense should have got MVP.
Nah, because
maybe
it wasn't one individual.
You should have named maybe Vic Fangio.
Well, it just shows how it's skewed on MVP.
But,
it just is always going to go to an offensive guy.
Except for that year that Malcolm Smith got it.
We were talking about an exception to the rule.
I know, but it's just funny. It's just funny.
That's just how it's going to be. But yeah, he was going to get the MVP.
2,900 yards passing until he gets to the playoffs. So the regular season, 2,900 yards passing.
Well, he missed some games, by the way. He missed some games. He missed the last 2 regular season games for sure. I don't even watch the Eagles like that. I just know he missed.
He started 15 games. But still, that per game pace isn't going to get you up to like 3,800 yards or anything.
No, but see, here's what the difference is. That's why Jalen Hurts is elite. He could care less what the media says about his stats. You know what he looks at? Do I have a W behind our games? And so, see, that's what happens, and that's why people don't think he's elite. He doesn't even care.
I look at
long as we win. Yeah. If we win, because guess what? He knows, and he knows when it's all said and done, the media's going to judge him on wins and championships.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Again, he can get carried all he wants, right? Because that's the big thing. Everybody's like, he got carried. That's fine. But then when it comes to the Super Bowl, when it comes to crunch time in the spotlight, let's think about it. Let's talk about this honestly. And we're going to be going up against the break, so we're not going to be able to finish it. So maybe we need to carry this over. But I agree with the premise that Jalen Hurts is a trailer. He's not the tractor pulling the team, right? Now, there are some instances where that's the case. I guess I'm trying not to, I kind of want to talk about this next segment, and we're just like, hit it right here. Okay, so here's the thing. To put it succinctly for me, is that you can get carried all you want to the big game. But when it comes time to put the team on your back or to win the big one and put up a good performance, because remember, in a loss, you're right. That was the better game. In a win, he was the best quarterback on the field. Where's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow doing that, right? I mean, like Joe Burrow made it to the Super Bowl, hasn't been back since. Like, at the end of the day, maybe there is a case to be said that there's maybe elite talent and elite winners. And right now, Jalen Hurts has proven to be a winner.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what the
I love
stats
it. That's
look
why
like.
I said the W behind his name, and that's all he really cares about. At the end of the day, he's going to have some good games. He knows he's going to have some bad games. But
The
guess
roster's
what?
good, but he's still got to execute
He's
it,
still
right?
got to execute.
We saw Ryan Tannehill with a good roster not execute.
Right, yeah. And
Like
I'm not going to say he's elite,
Yeah.
but I will say he's in the very, very good category.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going into a Super Bowl right now, Patrick Mahomes is probably the quarterback you're going to pick 9 times out of 10. The other one is Jalen Hurts, right? I mean, are you picking Josh Allen in a Super Bowl game, a Lamar Jackson in a Super Bowl game to take your team? They haven't even been able to get to the Super Bowl, and Jalen Hurts has done it twice.
Yeah. And then I just love the whole story and just the back because I had never seen anybody like him after what happened at Alabama and how he went about it and stayed at Alabama, became a better passer, then left. I mean, just this shows you who he is, and it goes back to my whole philosophy. You don't run from failure, you run to it.
Yeah.
And that's who he is. And then he rebooted and said, this is not going to define me. I get to determine how I'm defined.
Now,
and
we'll
I'll
say
show
the
you.
previous show, Buck Reisman was like, it's time to start the, Jalen Hurts Hall of Fame resume talk and all that kind of stuff. I think we're a long way to go from there.
Yeah, that's going a little too far.
But as
That's
of
in the
right now,
moment.
how
That's
many
in the moment.
quarterbacks in a big moment are you taking over Jalen Hurts? Right now, I'm almost going it's crazy to say because I really don't think that Jalen Hurts is a fantastic, great quarterback.
No.
But again, if I'm talking the big moment, Jalen Hurts has proven twice in the big moment that he can rise to the occasion.
And
not many quarterbacks can say that.
And this is why I want the Titans to trade back, because I don't think you need an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
That is
I
correct.
think you need a really good quarterback because it's a team sport. The media and everybody else wants to give all the credit and
To the quarterback.
starlight to the quarterback. But at the end of the day, everybody on the team understands without us, they can't operate.
Maybe not an elite player, but he's an elite winner. And he's
Right.
proven that since college.
That is what I want.
Because it's interesting. We'll talk about it when we come back, and we'll also get to Anthony in Spring Hill who wants to talk. 615-737-1045. I mean, in the big moments, Jalen Hurts shows up, and it's been that way
Every
since
time.
college. And I think that is something that can translate to the NFL, are those big moments and big wins. And we'll talk more about that when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone.
For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for 26 years. And we've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we're now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. Pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic starting in the barn of his backyard of a single-wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But I was telling Blaine, did you?
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. We're taking and breaking down the Eagles versus Chiefs game, but let's go to your phones first. Let's go to Anthony in Spring Hill, who wants to talk about the quarterback situation. Anthony, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing good.
I have a question for you after I'm finished.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you, I'm an Alabama fan, and I hated Jalen in his first 2 years.
Yep.
And they benched him. I was no more happy than I was the happiest man in the world. And all he did was put his head down
And grind.
get better, and get better. And the next year he won it, and then he went to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And then he got drafted.
And then he was second in the Heisman, wasn't he?
I don't think we know who he is yet. Every year he's gotten better. Every single year.
Great.
I wanted to ask you, Blaine, as a veteran, right? You see your rookie, you see your young kid, quarterback. You absolutely know that he is giving it, that he's doing all he can. He's giving everything. He's going to be prepared, right? How are you there? And the last thing I'm gonna say is, I think he hasn't plateaued yet. I'm telling you, and I think when it's time for him to put the team on his back, he'll be ready.
So how to defy, defy a guy like that too. His
thanks,
wherewithal
Anthony.
to survive all those experiences that he had. I think those are his words to get him to where he is today. And I'm sure he feels like he still has a ways to go, but he's not too far from it. So, it'll be interesting to see, where this goes with him because, you got to stay healthy. There's some luck involved, as we all know in sports. But, man, every time there's a big moment since that time for the national championship from Alabama, we've seen a different guy. And he went to work. And I think it's a note for all young athletes to see, even when you fail, doesn't define who you are. You get to determine how you're defined. And he went to work and put his head down and said, guess what? I need to be a better passer.
Yep.
So I got to figure it out. I'm going to go work with somebody, and I'm going to put all the effort into it and see where I end up at the end. And he's getting the last laugh here with all that. I think that's what's really – I don't know if we really are ever know him because the way he speaks is so level-headed and so, pure in that he never shows emotion. But when it's all over, I guarantee you he's sitting in his living room laughing like, yep, I did it. Yep, I did. I did exactly what I thought I could do.
Well, I look at it this way, too. Coming out of that draft, I was a real big fan of wanting to draft Jalen Hurts for the Tennessee Titans. Because I was like, okay, that's a guy that could sit behind Ryan Tannehill, because this was the 2020 draft, could sit behind Ryan Tannehill, learn a thing or two, develop into it. Because I never, you're right. When he, as an Alabama fan, when he left Alabama and went to Oklahoma, you saw that drive, that work ethic, that kind of something sometimes that other quarterbacks do not have.
It took him to the next level because it was painful for what happened to him. So he said, okay, I'm going to go to work.
So I was big, and I know that a lot of people at the time kind of said, he, at least in the Titans world, it kind of reminds him of like Steve McNair in that way, his toughness, his grit, the ability to just continue to work. And I was like, I want to draft Jalen Hurts for his leadership ability. I want to draft Jalen Hurts for that drive. The talent could come. The talent could be developed. The passing aspects that maybe he lacked as a college quarterback could have been developed. But I would rather have a guy of his mentality, of his ilk, as a backup quarterback and a developmental quarterback than I would, spending, well, of course, I think that's the draft that they the 2020 draft. Why am I blanking on who they drafted in the first round of that 2020 draft? Was that Isaiah Wilson?
Oh, man, it was somebody that didn't work out.
Or is that the 2021 draft? Help me out there back there.
Isaiah Wilson was 2020.
Okay, so yeah, that was the 2020. So that's when they went Isaiah Wilson, Christian Fulton in those two years. So I didn't want Jalen Hurts in the first round. I wouldn't have really been upset with it. But I was like, okay, in the second round, you could take a chance. And at the time, he was really viewed as that second, third round kind of pick. Jalen Hurts was never in the first round discussion, but I was like, man, I really wanted Jalen Hurts on this team. And you're seeing not necessarily the passing elements and everything, but you're seeing that leadership, that drive, that want to be better, and it's working for them. And it's not an easy ride with Jalen Hurts, right? I mean, he got demolished in that Tampa Bay game back in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, in that playoffs. And then he starts just getting better. He learns from all of his mistakes, and they make these changes and make these moves. They build around him. And again, he's, like you said, he's not an elite quarterback, but the way that they have built the team around Jalen Hurts while using patience is so paramount in today's NFL, and not many teams will do that, right?
Well,
not many. A lot of teams would probably have bailed on Jalen Hurts.
But I would have to say we're not giving him enough credit I know all the pieces that are around him, but I think there's some things that he does have that makes him elite. He's an elite competitor. You just talked about his leadership skills. And he has enough ability to beat you with running and throwing. So with all those qualities, and he's mentally tough. See, so with his talent, then to me, makes him elite. You don't have to have elite, some special characteristics as far as your arm talent. Well, I didn't see him miss too many balls when he was throwing. I saw one bad throw and he got hit on it. I thought he should have stepped into it and made a better throw. Other than that, we're talking about one throw in the biggest game of his life.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, you just got to give hats off to him. And then, the Roseman, the coaching staff, they develop young players around them. We need to start looking into who their O-line coach is. Because I'm telling you right now, this is 2 years in a row, maybe really 3. The O-line for the Eagles has been the best in the league. By the way, they're the biggest.
It's probably been 10 years running. Jeff Stoutlet is awesome.
Oh, my gosh, man. And so, great offensive line. They can run and pass block. They're huge, 6'6" on average, 340 on average.
Yeah.
They got 2 huge weapons, really good tight end, and then they got the best running back. So, I mean, man, they can beat you in any form or fashion, let alone Hurts can run.
But they built that over time, right? Because you go back and think about all the times that Howie Roseman was about to get that fans were chanting for them to fire Howie Roseman.
Right.
And now listen.
And the head coach this year. This year.
And listen, look at it this way. 2 second-round picks on that offensive line, 1 first-round pick by the Eagles, and 1 seventh-round pick by the Eagles. So 4 of those players are drafted. The other one, Mekhi Becton, was a former first-round pick, came from the Jets, was a tackle, moved him into guard. And it worked. Tennessee Titans probably could have used a right guard. I was kind of telling people we should probably be looking at Mekhi Becton as a free agent addition. Nobody wanted Mekhi Becton. Now he's got a Super Bowl ring. Now, obviously, he's not the main reason that they got a Super Bowl, but you get what I'm saying? You got to get the right pieces and get the right talent into place, and they have a good job. They do a good job of doing that. But it's also about putting yourself in a position to be able to do that, right? And what they have done over time is they didn't spend a lot on Jalen Hurts. Their top 10 players don't even account for 50% of their salary cap. So they construct.
They went through the draft.
They went through the draft. They construct their contracts appropriately. They're able to move money around, move pieces around. They also found a team dumb enough to trade A.J. Brown. They also had 8 teams ahead of them not draft Jalen Carter.
Well, they also had a team dumb enough not to sign the best running back.
Right, exactly. That was my third one, was going to be Saquon Barkley. They also had a team dumb enough that chose Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley. So there's some luck is involved in this. Always. But overall, it's about patience. And Bill Barnwell talks about how the patience with Howie Roseman has paid off. This is by far the best roster top to bottom in the NFL. And it's why they always stay relevant. It's funny to me, Blaine, that they all these Eagles talk about the bad year last year. We learned a lot from the bad year last year. And I was like, they went 11-6 last year. So what kind of hell are the Tennessee Titans in right now? Because if 11-6 is considered a rough year for the Eagles, but that also goes to show you their mentality, right? Mm-hmm. And again, this all goes back to the leadership that they instill, the culture they have built. Can the Tennessee Titans do that? See, that's the thing. Everybody's like, well, this is a great way for the Tennessee Titans. This proves you got to build through the trenches. Like, guys, we all know you're supposed to build through the trenches, but it's about having the patience and the wherewithal to get the right players for the trenches. And right now, the Philadelphia Eagles, with a little bit of luck, but a lot of skill, are able to build through the trenches because they've been patient. They've been able to do it over and over again, and they have a proven method that works. Tennessee Titans are still trying to figure out their own method.
Yeah, I'm not going to jump on, the bandwagon saying this is the way that you make a team, but you obviously got to take note to it. And everybody's situation, whether you're starting at the beginning like the Titans or you in the middle of the road, you can still take some notes from Roseman and what the Eagles and Lurie, the owner, man, what a fantastic owner, man. He's a great guy. Those guys, what they've done there over the last, 3-4 years is, commendable. So, and by the way, their fan base and the media there, they demand it. I mean, they are on you every single moment of the day of the season. We were 13-3. They act like we were 3-13 when I was on the team. I mean, it is insane there how much they demand win. And so does the owner, and it'll start with the head coach, I'm sure, because that's the kind of pressure you have when you play in Philadelphia. I mean, you got to remember now, they're in the same conference as the Dallas Cowboys. They want to take them down with the utmost. And the Giants, by the way, who haven't been good. But so there's pressure even just from that standpoint, not just from their own viewpoint. So, you got to tip the cap to them. And they stopped the three-peat, man. And so now they got to
remember
reboot
Chip
and restart.
Kelly tried to get Howie Roseman out of there.
Well, we all know what that is.
Yeah.
And that's about he wanted power and control of all players. Because he was up there trying to get LaShawn McCoy and Deshaun Jackson out of there, too. And they will tell you that it was a nightmare with Chip Kelly. And I think he kind of learned some things along the way, made some changes, too. But, yeah, that was...
he's been the GM. Now, a few of those years, the head coach's personnel authority, but he's been the GM since 2010. There are 139 wins, 104 losses, and one tie. They are 10-7 in the playoffs with two Super Bowl appearances, or two Super Bowl wins, 3 Super Bowl appearances. But again, he's been there since 2010. And these people that are expecting, and listen, instant success can happen, but it's not just about instant success.
Like the Commanders. Mm-hmm.
Right. It's about sustained success. And the Philadelphia Eagles have built a team so well over the 15 seasons that he's been general manager that they're able to just take best player available, does not matter. Like, they doubled down on all these cornerbacks this year in this draft. They went out and got Jeremiah Trotter, who was an undersized linebacker. They are able to draft all these players. Sometimes they are lucky that a player falls to them.
Don't forget, Vandy's finest.
Burks.
But
Zach Bond is a great example. Zach Bond was a free agent that I wanted for the Tennessee Titans to come here. I was like, man, this Zach Bond guy, he looks pretty good on tape.
There. Blankenship is safety.
Yeah.
DeJohn Cooper. I mean, man, and it was his birthday, too. Is that what they said?
Yeah, it was DeJohn Cooper's birthday.
So it was him and Barkley's?
Yeah.
Birthday, or is that my getting that wrong?
No, you're right.
Oh, wow, man. That was cool to get a pick six, man. That was pretty awesome. At the nickel, exactly where he needs to be. They identified the players, understand what they can do in this league, and then put them there.
Yeah.
The whole time I said he's a nickel safety guy. He will be fabulous, and he was. Corner, and maybe shaky up and down. He would have a roller coaster ride because all I did was watch the Ohio State game, and it told me all I needed to know. If we're going to play a lot of man-to-man, this is probably not where we need to be with him. But if we're going to do it systematically within what we do, I think he'll be fine. And so they identified players. They've done a great job. I mean, you got to get something.
And then you look over at the Chiefs. The Chiefs are kind of an up-and-down team in that regard, right? I mean, they identified some wide receivers, and most of their wide receivers that they draft do not pan out. Xavier Worthy looks to be trending in the right direction.
Oh, I thought they should have targeted him way more in this game.
Yeah. I thought they should have ran. I don't understand.
They didn't run at all.
No. I mean...
No. What did I say about Andy Reid?
Go ahead.
A sharp pass is just as good as a run.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't working in this game.
They covered up all the sharp passes.
Yeah.
And so then they said, our rush will get there.
Well, all week, everybody said, here's the path to the Philadelphia Eagles winning. It is Saquon Barkley and get home with 4 pass rushers. They got home with 4 pass rushers. Saquon Barkley was good enough as a decoy, even though his stats weren't good. You got to always account for Saquon Barkley. How they said the Chiefs need to win is play a lot of 12 personnel and maybe lean on their run game more. And they did neither of those things. it's kind of crazy to me. I mean, how poorly he looks so tired. We're watching some highlights, and he just looks so exhausted, Patrick Mahomes. But it's kind of amazing to me that the Chiefs didn't lean into some of the things that got him there. They kind of switched it up, and I was just like, I didn't really agree with the game plan, the offensive game plan. I think Spags and that defense tried to do the best they could, but they were on that field.
I thought his
all
was
the
fine.
time.
I think offensively, Andy Reid and crew.
Yeah, they let him
They
down.
got out coached. Oh, by the way,
they did.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like they got out coached.
Yeah, that's usually very rare for Andy Reid, but that happened there, and I'm specifically the offense. I thought the defense tried to hang in there as long as they could. But they held Saquon in place. I mean, what do you think they're going to do? I mean, man, they keep going 3 and out. I mean, you start getting exhausted. Like, hey, man, we got to do something. Then Kelsey, I don't know what's going on with him, man. I don't even know how much they target him, but he dropped a couple balls. I was even stunned. Did you see Diop's one drop?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I couldn't believe it. Almost like, did he lose track of the ball or something? What happened? I couldn't believe it, man. So I was stunned on their offensive performance throughout the entire game.
But this is a team now that's in a different kind of Super Bowl window, right? They're obviously going to be their division is getting tougher by the day. This conference in AFCs, we already know, is the better, tougher conference to continue to win. They got to make some moves. They can't just kind of sit by and kind of roll out there again. Juju Smith-Schuster, Mecole Hardman, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and continue to lean on Travis Kelce, who's going to be another year older, right? Like, you are going to have to start, and it's not because Patrick Mahomes is not a talented quarterback or is on the decline or anything, but I think last night's game showed that, okay, he can only do so much. You have to start, and you paid him a really smart contract that allowed you to build around him. But are you going to be capable of doing it? I mean, right now, they got $5.1 million in projected cap space. And
only
are they
five
going
free agents, by the way?
Well, the notable free agents. Those were notable free
yeah.
agents, including Trey Smith, Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, which those two I just named I wouldn't consider very notable. But Justin Reed and Nick Bolton are. And if you're the Tennessee Titans, what do you need? I just named a guard, 2 wide receivers, a safety, and a linebacker. And guess what? The Titans need a guard, a safety, and linebacker. And where did you just get your GM from? You just got your GM from the Kansas City Chiefs.
I would say this. Most guys who are in that shoe want to start their own accord. Now, maybe one of those guys will be potential targets, but when you go to another place, you say, you know what? I want to start my legacy in going down this road. If one of the guys are available and we meet the right price, great. Maybe as a guy he kind of went deeply into. It could be Bolton. It could be Tracy Smith. It could be any one of those guys. But for us to sign a couple of those guys, I would probably be surprised. We actually need a safety, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I doubt if we're going to do a safety. You know what? I wouldn't even be opposed to drafting a safety in the middle to later round.
There's
a guy,
Jonas Sanker is a guy from
in the fourth round, a guy who can come in kind of like a la Hooker was when he came out.
Yeah.
He was a 4th round pick, I think. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think we just got to do a better job of identifying the players that fit the scheme and the system. And then that way the coaches can develop them at a rapid rate. Also with great football acumen and IQ, because that's underrated. Sometimes you can't coach players every little detail. I mean, some parts of this now is on the freaking athlete. So, yeah, they got to get the right kind of guy that fits what they like to do and is sharp and doesn't have to kind of go over things multiple times. I used to get irritated about that. About the play. We have walkthrough, and I'm like, dude, we just went over this 3 times. What are you doing? Or, giggling, gaga, talking about something else. Oh, no, they coaches will laugh. I'd be like, hey, man, we got to stop all that.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk, wrap up our Super Bowl talk. I want to talk a little bit about Tom Brady and his performance this week. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
What?
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045.
Yeah, that was pouring your request there, right?
It is. Hey, listen, I'm a Kendrick Lamar guy. I enjoyed the halftime show. Do I think it was the greatest halftime show in the world? No. Was it the worst? Definitely not.
Oh,
but
no.
I just thought it was. I just enjoyed it. I just sat back and watched a guy. His rapping style tends to not play well live, but the way that he's able to carry himself and do it, and be able to constantly move around without really missing a beat, to me is what makes him different. And he's a real artist when it comes to that. And of course, if you're not really paying attention to all the extra digs at Drake,
yeah, no doubt,
you got to know the beef to also enjoy that. So
and
I can understand.
A lot of people don't know the beef.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know the beef.
Yeah. But I mean, he's a lyrical guy.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna say this. It was fine. It was okay. But when I want to watch my halftime show, I want to be entertained. And I want to see something else than that. Hey, he's just walking around that school. If I'm at a concert, I know what to expect.
Yeah.
I want to see something big. This is the biggest event in the world. I just wanted to see something different than that. Like Kendrick Lamar and his lyrics and everything else. But that's not where I wanted to see it at the halftime of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But again, I'm kind of with you. It did lack a little bit of that spectacle.
Yeah,
I guess you could say.
I wanted to see,
Katy Perry came out on 2.
Chris Brown. I wanted to see, just something. Man,
Katy Perry came out on 2 Megazord tigers, and then she had Left Shark. Like,
let's
got a
creative.
little pageant, a little bit more flair or pageantry.
Yeah,
but I did love all the little I guess you'd call them Easter eggs that he put out there.
Some digs, that's no doubt. And then I think he starts his little tour here pretty soon. So
yeah,
I get it all. But
I would have liked to have seen more from his basically his most popular album. Would like to have seen more like Mad City or Backseat Freestyle.
What'd you think, Jackson?
I enjoyed it when he looked into the camera and said Drake's name with a unhinged smile. It sent me. I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen, and I loved it. But I'm with Zach. I would have liked a lot more of the older stuff that came out like when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Really dating me there with that, high school when it came out.
Actually, it might have been middle school.
And I'm okay. Listen, as a fellow hater, I'm okay with making it all about the beef. I'm okay with going on to the Super Bowl because there was also digs, I guess, with the big 3. I believe it was J. Cole and Drake said something about playing in the Super Bowl or something, or being a part of the Super Bowl, and Kendrick Lamar is actually in the Super Bowl. So there's just layers. So I, as somewhat of a hater myself, game respects game.
A generational amount of hate on that Super Bowl stage.
It was.
Yeah,
it was.
That was for sure.
There you go. Now, I will tell you what is not generational is the talent of Tom Brady in the booth.
So you saying you didn't like him as much as you like Kendrick Lamar?
No, definitely not. So my first exposure to Tom Brady has been the playoffs because, after Titans games, I don't get to hear Tom Brady. He's usually on the 4 p.m. game for Fox. Yeah. So I don't get to, because the Titans talk back, I usually don't get to hear Tom Brady. So my first exposure to Tom Brady was a playoff game a couple weeks ago. I can't remember which one it was. And it was terrible. And then the Super Bowl happens, and he was downright atrocious.
Oh, my.
It was some of the worst color commentary I've ever seen. This man is getting paid for 10 years, $375 million, and that may be the worst broadcasting crew for Super Bowl I've ever had the displeasure of hearing.
Yeah, I hope they do a little buyout here just to save faith in here. And the NFL eventually says, it's a little bit of a conflict because, man, Tom Brady, I'm going to give him this. He is average at best. But, man, I'm going to tell you, I kind of, after the... I put the game on mute, man. I couldn't take it anymore. And that very rarely happens. And I'm a big Tom Brady guy, by the way. So, yeah, that was tough to hear because I hadn't listened to him like that for an entire game. Clips here or there, but watching games and flipping channels. But, that was tough to hear. He kept referencing himself back then, and he was saying things that were just things that everybody knows. So I don't know what they've done to him. I'm wondering if they're, schooling him along the way, or maybe not, because you would thought he would have improved on his way, how he does his business in the booth there. But I loved Olsen. Romo. I mean, I know some of those guys on different. I just, man, he's at the bottom of the totem pole there. I don't know. Jackson, did you like
And he
him?
brought down Kevin Burkhardt. I mean, that's a hard thing to do. He has brought down the quality that Kevin Burkhardt's providing.
Yeah,
because there's
and
no
he was
chemistry.
with Olsen too, right?
Yeah, he was with it. I'm sorry, Greg Olsen is the best color commentator in the game right now.
He was good.
He's the best one. And then they ruined it by overpaying for a guy based on name recognition alone that clearly wasn't ready. He's just as bad as Drew Brees was. If everybody remembers Drew Brees, the color commentator.
I don't remember Drew Brees as a color commentator.
Yeah, there you go. He was terrible. He's a terrible analysis. I was only like 5 years ago.
We won't forget Tom Brady.
I mean, but give me a break.
What did you think of Tom Brady there, Jack?
I heard Will Bowling make a really interesting point this morning. Brady may not be built for the booth. The way his communication style, I think, because he does hits with Colin Cowherd, and those are excellent. But it doesn't translate to the studio because you have such a finite amount of time to get your point across, and that's something that can be learned.
For a quarterback known about timing, he's terrible with it.
Quarterback timing and broadcast timing are two very different things.
I mean, I guess, but
we're at the end of the year. This is the last game. Like, that's why I said, is someone, kind of, schooling him along the way, or are they just letting him be him? And I'm sure he's critiquing himself, but there's different when you're getting taught and then you're critiquing yourself in an industry where you really haven't been a part of this whole, calling games, which is totally different than if you're just giving an opinion about what's going on.
He's bad every game. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, wow.
Like, I get taking a chance on Tom Brady, but paying him 10 years, $375 million was an insane move, not just in hindsight. It was an insane move at the time. And this is the concern, because if he's not really, it doesn't really feel like he has any feel for the broadcasting game. And he learned nothing. Well, and we as an audience learned nothing. Like with Greg Olsen, you're walking away with critiques, X's and O's, inside information, all the stuff you're looking for from a guy who's been in the game. And Tom Brady, who's played the game at the highest level a player could play, was like, okay, you got to score at this point. You can't afford to punt the ball here and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is the analysis we're getting from Tom freaking Brady, who's one of the best Super Bowl quarterbacks of all time.
Oh, my. I feel for him.
Is it because, and my concern is it because that he's afraid to say anything bad because he's part owner of the Raiders and very involved in the Raiders process of player acquisition and coach hiring and all this stuff? Is he too afraid to be
afraid of what?
I don't know. Maybe he's afraid. Maybe he's afraid of saying something wrong, and then that player is not going to want to come play for the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know, but like at some point, you got to call a spade like a spade, and I'm with you. I would be interested to know what's the repercussions of trying to terminate this contract.
Man, is there a buyout proposition? I mean, man, Tom, man, come on. Somebody made a grave mistake. I hope it was somebody up top.
Yeah.
I think he'll just be eventually the most overpaid studio analyst that Fox has.
I don't know if I guess because it's football, right? Ratings are always going to be king regardless of who your announcers are. But I do wonder what year 2 of this Tom Brady experiment's going to look like and the results it yields, because he's got to get into the lab. He's got to go practice, because this is terrible.
Man. Yeah, I gave him, he was average at best. And that's because he's Tom Brady.
That's generous.
Right, I know, I'm being generous. I mean, come on, Tom.
Greg Olsen is an incredible color analyst. I just don't understand.
Better than him. That's all I know. He's way better than him.
I don't get it. You should have let Tom Brady cut his teeth in other games and other markets. Treat it like a rookie quarterback or something. Like, you got to let him cut his teeth before you put him on the big stage. He was terrible. Yeah. And that, again, a lackluster game. And I found the game to be highly entertaining because I enjoy fast-paced, hard-hitting defense. But, like, in a blowout, your color commentator is going to have to kind of both your commentators have to raise the stakes of their skills to an appropriate level to make the game more interesting, and they brought it even worse. Like, would we all be saying this is like one of the most boring Super Bowls ever if maybe we had a different crew? Maybe still, but like this was just terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, after the first drive and they didn't go anywhere, the Chiefs didn't get out. I'm like, yeah, I kind of lost interest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm with
I
you.
did, man. I was like, are you kidding me? Come on.
When we come back, we'll talk about all the rumors that have been popping up around the Tennessee Titans. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone.
It is 2:01. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl 59 champions as they routed the Chiefs last night 40-22. Jalen Hurts, your Super Bowl MVP, after he went 17 of 22 for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns. The latest AP poll is out for basketball, and both the Vols men's and women's teams are ranked. The men's team dropped one spot to number 5 after wins over Mizzou and Oklahoma, and the women's team rose to number 15 after a win against UConn on Thursday and a loss to LSU yesterday. The Nashville Preds back in the win column on Saturday, taking down the Buffalo Sabres 6-4. Ryan O'Reilly tallied 4 assists, while Brady Shea netted 2 goals in the win. Preds improved their record to 19-28-7 on the season. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. You want to get in on the conversation? We've been talking about the Eagles, the Jalen Hurts quarterback situation. Basically, where does he place among the NFL's greats as far as current NFL quarterbacks? We've talked about team building, all this kind of stuff. So we got to get into some of the latest rumors that are popping up around there. Obviously, Jay Glazer, the big news yesterday during the Super Bowl, Jay Glazer reports that the Jets have decided to move on from Aaron Rodgers in some form or fashion. He will not be in their quarterback plans for 2025. They flew him out to New Jersey, apparently. They've had a couple of long meetings with him, and this is the ultimate conclusion they've come to. Now, whether they decide to do a post-June 1st release or they decide to do some kind of other release remains to be seen. I mean, essentially what could happen, Blaine, because I don't remember if you remember the numbers I threw out last week, but I said that, if they cut or trade Aaron Rodgers without a post-June 1st designation, they lose $25.5 million in cap space. What's interesting is that if you cut Devontae Adams, you gain almost all of that. You gain all that back and then some in cap space. So
no matter when you cut him?
No matter when you cut him. So it's looking like you cut both of them if you're the New York Jets. Now, does that mean that they become totally a package deal? I don't know. If I'm Devontae Adams and I'm at the tail end of my prime, but still in my prime, I don't know if I want to attach myself to Aaron Rodgers anymore. So maybe I'm looking for a different situation. But there's a lot of rumors out there. Obviously, the connection to the Tennessee Titans. He was on Pat McAfee a couple of weeks ago talking about how much he loved Tennessee. He has a house here.
All those things that make you excited.
Oh, yeah, super excited. Mike Berganzi, Chad Brinker got a relationship with them. The Tennessee Titans do need a quarterback and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff is very valid. But at the end of the day, you're talking about an over 40-year-old quarterback, and I think there's only been one quarterback to throw, at the age of 42, over 2,000 yards, and I believe it was Tom Brady. And listen, Aaron Rodgers probably is the next guy to be able to do it. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about it, I thought it was interesting. Lindsay Rhodes put this out there, and she works for Sumer Sports, and she was actually on 3HL last week, but she put this out there in a tweet last night. What if Aaron Rodgers is kind of like the coach Bill Belichick of quarterbacks this year? Everybody thinks he's going to have all these landing spots, but at the end of the day, there's not enough chairs for Aaron Rodgers in the quarterback, I guess you would say, musical chairs. That's a terrible analogy by me, by the way.
Oh, that was you. I thought that's what she said.
That's what she said. I did the musical. I'm trying to go off memory. I couldn't find it. But
well, I don't understand why would someone think he's going to have all these options?
Yeah, that's what she's saying. But she thinks it's going to be like that Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel thing where everybody says they have all these options, but then at the end of the day, he may have to sit out a year.
Oh, well, I don't know if he's going to have to be able to do that. You know what? I'd love to know what Aaron Rodgers is actually interested in. And when I say that, I'm talking about price. How much does he think he deserves, whether it's a good team or a bad team, or, a quarterback away from, helping you, get your second ring? Or is that important? Or do you have to overpay because you have another team that's bidding for his services that maybe is a little more equipped than you and can probably get to the playoffs, and then you just never know. So that would be my kind of conversation. I'm coming from a Titans perspective, as always. And if not, then he can hit the high horse then.
It's interesting. Albert Breer in his
has he ever quoted anything about what he's looking for in the team?
Well, that's what I'm about to. So, Super Bowl takeaways: Chiefs doomed by imperfections is the title of the article on SportsIllustrated.com, SI.com, and then he has a couple of different things. He talks about Matt Stafford. He talks about Aaron Rodgers, and here in Aaron Rodgers, he goes, now, obviously, if he comes back, because there is always the possibility that maybe he retires. If he comes back, the list of suitors will be short because teams would have to check a bunch of boxes for interest on either end. So their own boxes, the boxes that he needs checked for things to develop. But if he doesn't want to go out like this, I'd have to think someone, in parentheses, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, would take a swing. And if you think about Pittsburgh,
no, I think that's a good.
That makes a lot of sense, right? You have a great team. You could they would have space to not only bring you, but also bring Devontae Adams, if that's the case. And you guys instantly probably make that team better than what it was last year with Russell Wilson. And that flamed out, but you have to think that Rodgers plus Devontae Adams is a plus add over either Russell Wilson alone or Justin Fields alone. And in theory, you would still have all your draft picks as well. So that is an interesting landing spot, but I do think you're right. The Tennessee Titans don't make sense from an Aaron Rodgers perspective, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't make sense from a Tennessee Titans perspective either, in my opinion.
Yeah. I never thought this was a good match based off, where the Titans are at and where he's at. He's really trying to pursue and put all the cards on deck that he's got a shot, not only at the playoffs, but, a shot at the Super Bowl to get his second one. Because that's a differentiation between him and the rest of the, quarterbacks, elite quarterbacks that, some of them are already in the Hall of Fame, or you can talk about Peyton Manning and everybody else. There's guys that have one, but it's the actual, do you have two? And I think that's what he's pursuing. I don't even know if there is a team actually that he does fit that actually needs a quarterback that kind of is a playoff contender.
You got to think he's ring chasing.
Right.
Because wasn't that kind of the whole point of going to the Jets? He felt like they were pretty close with that defense and the young roster, that they could get something done. And I feel like right now that's what he's doing. He's ring chasing. Ring chasing does not equal Tennessee Titans, unfortunately, right now.
Not unless they have some Commanders type, off season, and all of a sudden, voila.
But that also included a good quarterback. And
he would say that he's a good quarterback.
Well, he would say that, but I think Test tells the difference. And
you don't think he's a good quarterback, Steve?
I think he's an all right quarterback.
See,
league average.
This is why I love being on Radio Bell. I said, is he a good quarterback?
Yeah.
You know what you're comparing him to? What he used to be. He's still a good quarterback.
I'm comparing him to what's in the NFL right now.
Well, his numbers, you're a big numbers guy. You see his numbers.
Now listen, I'm prepared for this numbers argument. Because listen, how many pass yards did he have? 3,800 pass yards.
I don't know what he had. I'm just saying.
3,800 pass yards, but Rodgers threw for the 8th most passing yards this year, okay?
Okay. Well, that's
second most passing attempts.
Is that pretty good?
No, second most passing attempts. We have to go. So that means
good.
So that means he ranked 28th in yards per attempt.
Wait a minute, I know you're super sharp. How is if you finish 8th out of 32?
Because it took him the second most passes in the NFL, pass attempts to get there. That's not good. That's not efficient.
Well, you know what a lot of people would say? Well, then that's why I have a lot of interceptions, too, because I threw more than everybody else.
I don't even care about the interceptions.
No, I know. Not him in this case. I'm just saying on the other end, let's say like Brett Favre would say, or whoever who threw a lot of picks.
6.7 yards per attempt, which is on the wrong side of where you want to be.
I would say remember what I said at the beginning of the show. See, you're taking and spinning it that all you need is a good quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And I asked you, was he a good quarterback?
He's an average quarterback.
Right, that's a good quarterback.
I would say average is below good.
Right.
I go average, good, great.
All the off-field stuff is a different story.
Yeah.
But is he still a good quarterback? I would say you have to say he's an average, good starting quarterback in that Super Bowl.
But he's been also declining every year.
Yeah,
so that's the other thing is like, how good is that going to continue for a team like the Tennessee Titans that need not someone on the decline? Because he was second most pass attempts, eighth most passing yards, but 28th most yards per attempt. He ranked 22nd in expected points added per dropback. His success rate was 25th. He had the fourth lowest pressure rate, but the ninth most sack rate. So he had the ninth highest sack rate, but the lowest pressure rate. So pressure to sack ratio, big deal with Aaron Rodgers because he can't move around in that pocket as well as he used to anymore. And he ranked 34th in completion percentage over expectation. So when you watch the film, you see a guy that is still able, not consistently, make the plays that made him Aaron Rodgers. But as far as what he's viewed in the NFL eyes, I feel like he's on the decline. And I feel like right now he's 42 years old. I don't even know if I'd put him at top 15 quarterbacks. I'm sure I could maybe in 2024, I don't think I'd put him as a top 15 quarterback now that's all said.
That would
and
be
done.
an interesting discussion. I'd love
when we go through that.
Yeah.
And so when we come back, let's go through that, but we'll also go to your phones. We'll go to Luke and Bam because they want to talk about the Super Bowl and Aaron Rodgers as well. We'll talk about some of the rumors that are popping up. There's, Jameis Winston made the rounds. You have Matt Stafford talk. You have all this information coming at you for the Tennessee Titans. So we'll also go through maybe where we would put Aaron Rodgers rank-wise among the NFL quarterbacks for 2024. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here, 105 The Zone.
As an athlete myself, I know how frustrating nagging pain and injuries can be to your performance. So if you have a nagging pain or injury that has been keeping you from fully enjoying your favorite sports or activities like golf, tennis, whatever it is, now's the time to finally take care of it. And the spring is a great time to make this happen. An Edge peptide and hormone therapy has multiple regenerative treatment options for treating, healing, recovering from your injuries or pain. An Edge has everything from PRP treatments to stem cell therapy. An Edge focuses on your body's natural ability to heal, and the ultimate goal is always to avoid surgery if possible. You reduce joint pain, inflammation, promote tissue repair, and even improve mobility and function, just like I did for my shoulder. So call Edge for a comprehensive consultant to create the perfect treatment plan for you at some of the most aggressive pricing you'll find in the area. And all you have to do is just go to edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com. Or you can just give them a call today at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. We are going to figure out live on air where Aaron Rodgers ranked in the 2024 season.
Oh.
We're gonna discuss it, but first, we got to go to the phone, 615-737-1045. Let's go to Luke, who wants to talk about the Super Bowl. Luke, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Luke Skywalker.
Hey, what up, guys?
What's up?
What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, as far as quarterbacks go, I think if we can move to 3 and still get Abdul Carter, that's what we got to do. But what I wanted to ask y'all is, did y'all notice how absolutely horrible the score bug was on the TV? I mean, it looked like something from like a 2007 local high school game on a fuzzy channel with terrible audio. And this was the Super Bowl. I'm glad I wasn't the only one because I got on Facebook instantly and everybody was talking about it. I mean, I don't know how anybody approved that. It was awful. But anyway, yeah, I don't know if we're going to have a good quarterback this year, but I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, that was really weird.
What's he talking about? I don't know.
So the score bug is the thing at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know why it's called a score bug, by the way. I tried to get Joseph to tell me, and he doesn't know. Do you know, Jackson, why it's called a score bug?
I am also uneducated.
It looks like we're all uneducated today.
Man, you're just useless, Jackson.
I know. But the score bug.
Meanwhile, I have no idea what it is.
But that thing is, it didn't have any background to it. It was just, the Philadelphia square and the Kansas City square and the time, and then you had your stats, which it felt like even the stats that they were putting out were really close to the bottom over there to the edge. So I was like, I thought it was very ugly. But I mean, that's something if you're really paying attention to it. I really don't kind of look at it all the time, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely was not, but I know exactly. Yeah, but I could care less. But, yeah.
All right. Let's go to Bam, who wants to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Bam, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Yo, what's good, fellas? How's everybody doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Bam, bam.
Man, I'm good, my guy. Good to hear from y'all. Man, listen, I'm kind of in limbo about this Aaron Rodgers thing because, one, if you got him here, that's going to benefit, and we draft the quarterback, that's going to benefit whoever, Shador, Cam, whoever you get. I mean, they still learning from a Hall of Fame quarterback to have them sit for a year. Y'all agree or disagree?
I mean, I'm okay with them sitting a year. I agree with that, but I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is the guy you want them to be behind.
Yeah, I just don't know how much he's a mentor type guy. I can't tell you.
Okay. I get it. I mean, and like I said, all this is just talk, speculation. But it's just kind of like, if he comes here, he's almost automatically the best quarterback in the division, even at 42.
Oh, no. Better than C.J. Stroud?
I mean, I'm a just say, I think if him and C.J. Stroud go head-to-head, Rodgers got too many tricks to get you with, C.J.'s got a lot more athleticism and a whole lot this, but you can't beat, A-Rod's mental game. You can't beat his experience, bro.
But they're picking in the top 10, right? So I guess a lot of teams were able to beat that experience.
Well, yeah.
Actually, I will say this. Jets did beat C.J. Stroud in Houston this year. So you do got that. That game, that was the game that C.J. Stroud went 11 for 30, 191 yards, 36.7% completion percentage. Oof. That was a bad game. But I don't know if I would be taking C.J. Stroud or Aaron Rodgers over C.J. Stroud right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one there. I don't know.
We'll go through it. That's a good jumping off point for Bam, and we'll go through it. I mean, let's start right there. Do you think that Aaron Rodgers, who are you taking in 2025?
Well, let's
Aaron Rodgers or C.J. Stroud
for the Titans in the situation they're in right now.
Is that how you want to do it?
That's what I'm asking.
Okay. Well, I mean, who do you think is the better quarterback right now? Listen, we're talking current form of the quarterback, not obviously Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks and most talented quarterbacks to ever play the game. Mm-hmm. But who they are right now is drastically different than what they were.
C.J. Stroud.
Okay, so we got C.J. Stroud. Okay, so. Patrick Mahomes, I think we would agree.
Well, we want to just continue in our division?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence, I still would take Trevor Lawrence over Aaron Rodgers right now. But I don't know if it's that That to me is like the borderline right there because I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a top 15 quarterback.
Yeah, I think I'm going Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I could not disagree, to be honest with you.
It's a coin toss type.
Yeah, it's a coin toss. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is kind of like the line right there. So, I mean, obviously he's better than anything the Titans got, and he's better currently, and he's better than anything the Colts got.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Jordan Love. Would you take Jordan Love or would you take Aaron Rodgers? I would take personally Jordan Love.
Well, right now, Love is better.
Jaden Daniels, I would take over Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. Baker Mayfield, I would take over Aaron Rodgers. Would you take him over Aaron Rodgers?
I think that's a coin toss.
That's a coin toss to you.
For me, yeah.
Okay, so Matt Stafford, I would take over Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Currently. Mm-hmm. Where would you put?
They're around the same age, aren't they? Or no?
Yeah, no. Stafford, I believe, is like 5 years younger.
Oh,
if I'm not mistaken. Where would you put in the conversation?
So how many quarterbacks is that so far?
So that is. I mean, I got Baker, but that's right now. We're on number 12. Okay, so
right.
so
see if he's in the top 15.
We're going to see if he's in the top 15. Would you take Bo Nix over Aaron Rodgers?
With the way that the team is today.
Now, we're not talking for the Tennessee Titans.
Just
we're talking about the quarterbacks in a vacuum. Who is the better quarterback right now?
I'm taking Aaron Rodgers.
You're taking Aaron Rodgers over Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about Dak Prescott?
Yeah, I'm not a Dak Prescott guy.
So you're taking, wow. I'm a little surprised by that one.
Yeah, I'm not a Dak Prescott guy. But you know why? Aaron Rodgers is much more clutch than him.
Okay, Jalen Hurts?
He can't win in I'll probably take Jalen Hurts.
Okay, what about Kyler Murray?
Ooh, kind of right now. Aaron Rodgers is probably Kyler Murray.
Okay, so you're not taking Bo Nix. You're not taking. Obviously, you probably wouldn't take Bryce Young. Tua, probably not.
Nope.
What about Sam Darnold? Would you take Sam Darnold or Aaron Rodgers?
That is a tough one. I would go Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. What about Brock Purdy?
Aaron Rodgers.
Wow. So you do have Aaron Rodgers in your top 15.
Even at 41.
I mean, he's at 14, but you have him up there. Because, I don't think
he'd
Derek
be
Carr, is he even worth the discussion for you? Geno Smith?
I think he's right at 15 probably for me.
Geno Smith?
Yeah, he's over Geno Smith.
I would have him outside of my top 15, but he would be within the top 20.
Right. I think that's a good argument. Yeah. Here or there, the guys I have coin toss guys, is here or there. But I just don't think right now where the Titans are at today, see, that's a different conversation. I don't think he fits where they're at unless he's with
why would he want to come here?
I don't get it.
I know everybody's like, well, he loves Tennessee, but does he love the Titans? Yeah, you got to be ring chasing at this point. Why would you want to go out and spend the final few years of your career,
let's say,
at 42 playing for the Tennessee Titans?
Okay, I'm just throwing out a theory. Like, I'm just, as we're sitting here right now, why Aaron Rodgers want to come here? First of all, he would want his buddy at wide receiver. That would help the Titans. Okay. Got to get him a right tackle and a right guard for sure. That can possibly happen through the draft and free agency. Okay. Let's see, what else would he need to make him feel like, okay.
You need all those pieces on defense.
And he's in the AFC South. Right. Okay. So then you go to defense. You say, okay, do you get a pass rusher?
Need that.
To help me out. So there you go, Abdul Carter, however you get him. All right. You need probably a linebacker, and you need a free safety, and you need another corner.
More than likely.
Right. Depending on the health of those guys or being dependable.
Need a safety. Did we mention that? Need another inside linebacker.
Yeah, I said that already. Yes.
Yeah, 2 pass rushers, technically.
Right. So I just think there's going to be a lot to come with them. And I just don't know if you can even give them enough to even convince them that this is a place that you can come and, be in the hunt. Like, if the
Let's
Titans
be honest, whose roster is better?
If the Titans had 7 wins, then I think you could have argued with some of those pieces and holes that we are a playoff contending type team. And that's all he wants, to be in the big dance to see if he can compete to play in the playoffs. And then we all know anything can happen there.
Who had the better roster, the Jets or the Titans? I would say that the Jets, top to bottom, had a better roster last year. Devontae Adams, Breece Hall, Their offensive line was better. You also have Garrett Wilson.
And
Great young defense. And they went 5-12 with Aaron Rodgers. Right. So what do you think that he's going to do with the Tennessee Titans next year?
They fired the coach, too, as well.
So, I mean, like, and they're probably going to fire this coach here soon. Hey, Aaron Rodgers can just get him another one, put another pelt on the wall.
Well, he's trying to
mount Brian Callahan's head to the wall.
He's trying to add to the list of see who can get out of there and, get his way.
But, like, I look at it, and it's like he went 5-12 with a much better roster, and part of the reason they went 5-12 was because he wasn't efficient. Now, a lot of people would say, hey, maybe it's another year removed from the Achilles injury. But he's also really old. Like, I don't know, to me, I don't know why Aaron Rodgers would ever want to come here. But I also don't understand why Brian Callahan would ever want to saddle himself with a guy that's going to get you fired regardless.
Yeah, well, he wants a veteran quarterback, but
because you're not winning enough games with Aaron Rodgers. And by the time, like, that's a guy that's going to get you fired mid-season, it feels like, right now.
Well, you know what, Aaron Rodgers, if he want to follow the course, if he did come here, you think he would then get rid of the ball quick?
I don't know. I mean, he does. I mean, I'll have to look up his time to throw. I felt like he did do that against Tennessee Titans very well, but I don't know if he did that all season long. Right. But he would get the ball out quick. I mean, I'm not debating with anybody. Aaron Rodgers is way better than Will Levis or Mason Rudolph.
Right, we know that.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I'm talking about
what you have to sell to get him to come here, and would the coaches want him here, and would he want to come in? Just like I just think it's a little too much.
Right.
It's a lot.
I mean, he's chasing a ring. Yeah. I mean, right? Yeah. I mean,
but what team does fit him?
I'd go with the Steelers.
Yeah, that's it. But
I say the same thing about Sam Darnold because I look at the Steelers; they're a quarterback away.
Well, see, if I'm the Steelers, I sign Sam Darnold if he's available.
I'm with you.
If he's available, if they don't franchise him or
you know me, that's what I've said for a long time.
If I was them, but
I could see them maybe going for the 2-for-1 with Aaron Rodgers and taking the cheaper route and getting Aaron Rodgers plus Devontae Adams for the same price you're probably paying for Sam Darnold because you saw what they were able to do with Russell Wilson.
What do you think about him and Arthur Smith?
I think it could work.
Okay.
I mean, I think Arthur Smith calls a pretty good game plan and offense around who he has. Maybe not the greatest head coach, obviously, but I think he's different as an offensive coordinator because you saw that he was able to switch up the game plan going from Justin Fields to Russell Wilson. So I think that they would probably get along really well. The problem is for the Tennessee Titans, it just doesn't make sense for either party. It's not just that it doesn't make sense for the Tennessee Titans. It doesn't make sense for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but we've seen crazier things, though, by the way.
What I'm saying is if he does end up here, I think that tells you a lot about the weight of what is best for Brian Callahan, right? Like that decision kind of leads you to believe like they don't care about Brian Callahan's input or anything like that. They're going to do what they want to do, and they're going to do what they think is best for the Tennessee Titans long term.
Well, how do you view that as they don't care what he thinks? He wants a veteran quarterback. We got you one.
I don't think he wants Aaron Rodgers.
It's just maybe we didn't get the one you wanted, but we got you one.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're any coach in the NFL that's on the hot seat, is that the guy you want to bring in? A 42-year-old quarterback that's clearly on the downturn of his career. Because he's not Tom Brady. No. And then Tom Brady at his age was way better than what Aaron Rodgers is right now, showing us right now.
I don't know. I know that is a true statement, but we shall see. One thing you've said here is Achilles 1 year removed. And guess what? One thing is dangerous about sometimes with these veteran quarterbacks and the veterans in general, especially a guy of his ilk, is will he resurface and have this drive to show that he's back, and can he actually do it?
And that may be the case, but that may
I don't know if he can, but yeah.
That may be a situation where it's kind of like Tom Brady, right? He went to Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, great offensive line, good defense with Bruce Arians. Like,
it was all set up for a line for him.
A lot of things went right for him. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, Steelers are kind of set up like that. I can still bring my buddies like Tom Brady brought Gronk. I could still bring my buddies over here and we could still make a run for it and I maybe don't have to do as much. And but here,
Adams
he's
and
going to
Pickens?
have to do a lot, right? That's the thing, is that it's going to have to be put on Aaron's shoulders.
And he can't do that now.
I don't think Aaron's that guy anymore.
Well, he can't do that. He's an average quarterback, as I mentioned. But, he has to be a place where they have all the pieces in place. Like Philadelphia. Now, there's a lot of quarterbacks to be in there, but he's got to have some pieces that are already set there that he can say, okay, I can work with this. That's why I said the Titans just, to me, is not a good fit. If he comes to the Titans, I mean, he had no other options, and the Titans lost out on some other veteran quarterbacks as well.
Yeah. Well, some other quarterbacks that are being rumored to be connected with the Tennessee Titans are maybe available options for the Tennessee Titans, is a better way to put it. It's looking like Kellen Moore will be announced as head coach of the New Orleans Saints. It just seems inevitable at this point. Rumors are circulating that Derek Carr is going to be sticking around. So they're going to have to do a lot of work to get under the salary cap, because they're currently $51 million over the salary cap.
He just restructured about 3 guys.
He probably got restructured about 50 guys, maybe every guy on that roster. So you're going to have to do that. So it sounds like Derek Carr probably going to stay. I would also look at a situation like you really got to start keeping an eye on this Matt Stafford situation. Now, I do think that Matt Stafford is going to end up signing a deal with the Los Angeles Rams. I don't think that there's going to be a situation where he's not on the Rams in 2025. But it's not impossible for him to end up being available on the market. And Brian Callahan has a working relationship with Matt Stafford. And I think a key part in all this quarterback discussion, and a part that I'm going to keep bringing up a lot over this year, is that everybody talks about, well, you got the bridge quarterback and then you were able to get Patrick Mahomes. They had Alex Smith as their bridge quarterback for 4 seasons until they drafted Patrick Mahomes. There is a situation where they maybe go longer term with a bridge quarterback. Matt Stafford seems like an ideal candidate for that kind of situation. He could be a bridge quarterback for more than 1 year until you are comfortable enough and find conviction with a quarterback in a quarterback class. And maybe they come up with some conviction about this quarterback class. But if Matt Stafford's available, I think they go and trade for Matt Stafford, or at least attempt very heavily to try to trade for Matt Stafford. But I also think Pittsburgh Steelers could also be a team that maybe is trying to trade heavily for Matt Stafford.
Okay, couple questions here. What is the relationship that the coach has with him?
Quarterback coach of the Detroit Lions with Matt Stafford. It was one of his best statistical years as well.
What was his position? Quarterback?
Quarterback coach.
Okay.
Brian Callahan was quarterback coach with Matt Stafford. Yeah.
For 1 year.
Yes, 1 year. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, because I think that everybody got. I think he went on to the Raiders after that, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Now, you say that Matthew Stafford, he's a better talent and he's a little bit younger, but what makes you think he's no different in his view of like Aaron Rodgers? Why would I want to go to this team when he's chasing his second ring?
Because he wouldn't have a choice.
Oh, he gets traded. To get traded. Well, I thought you was talking about he got released.
No. I think he'll get, if he's not, they're not going to release him.
Oh, okay.
They're going to trade him. They won't release him.
Oh,
the rumor would be is that they were going to get.
So what do you think he's worth? Like the Titans didn't have to give up collateral.
I don't know. I think Matt Stafford is going to command a pretty good sum, but I think this is all part of the negotiation. This is why I think that Matt Stafford's going to end up just re-signing with the Rams.
Right. Well, and I also wanted to contend.
I'm sorry, he was Detroit Lions quarterback coach for 2 years.
Okay, good. That's at least a better relationship. I just don't think this is a place that he would want to come either. I think he's chasing a ring because he has the stats.
Yep.
He has all the numbers and everything else. So what's going to define if he gets into the Hall of Fame when it's all said and done? So to me, this is something that he's
But he may not have a choice.
Well,
that's the situation.
May not, but I think the Rams are going to try to do right by him to a certain extent now, unless they get back to going to get.
I don't know. The negotiations got pretty contentious last year, and there were some rumors, and that's why they kind of made this. They kind of took like $5 million from the future, put it in the present, right. And then they made it to where we'll give you a $5 million bump if you make all your other money not guaranteed. So they kind of did. So if negotiations go south, they may just take whatever's the best offer on the table, because I'm not saying that they would, but if they're trading Stafford, they may need a quarterback. Maybe there's a situation where you involve the number 1 overall pick, but you also get Matt Stafford and other picks. You get what I'm saying? Like, you may be able to make too sweet of a deal for them to say to do right by, Matt Stafford.
I don't know about this. I think you're also wrong on the other. Alex Smith was not a bridge because I don't know if Andy was there or not, but he started 4 years because he was the best thing they had on their roster. So you don't wait 4 years if you don't like him. You move forward and you draft somebody. So he was a quality. You know what really defined why they had to move forward? Because he would never unleash and throw deep, and he was very conservative, didn't turn the ball over, and they said, we've seen enough of this. We're going to have to get some guys who's going to have some cojones to throw it deep. So I don't think that was what the thought process was when they traded for him at the time, that he was going to be a bridge.
Right, but I mean, like, he ended up just being a bridge, though. He wasn't your franchise guy.
Well, second of all, they drafted Mahomes, what was the 10th pick? I don't think they thought that he would be ready that quickly until he got in that game at the end of the season.
What I'm saying is that eventually, if you're not the franchise quarterback, you're technically a bridge quarterback. But what I'm saying is that they ran with Alex Smith for 4 years. Yeah. There's a situation where they run with Sam Darnold for 4 years if they don't have conviction for this quarterback class. It's kind of what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying? Like, this idea that the long-term quarterback contract is out of the question for the Tennessee Titans, I don't think is the actual reality.
Well, I don't like that whole mechanism is if you're going to draft a quarterback and sign one for $40 million a year.
But I don't think they're going to do that is what I'm saying.
Well, I
think if they sign Sam Darnold, by the time free agency opens, they'll have gone through the combine. They'll have met Cam Ward. They'll have extensive one-on-one time. They'll do all that. They'll have done their scouting and film watches and all that kind of stuff. I think if they pay Sam Darnold, I think that tells you that they're not drafting a quarterback in this class, and I think they're going to wait.
Mm-hmm. Well, I went through my 3 quarterbacks that I like.
Yeah.
So it's starting with Jimmy Garoppolo because we just saw not an elite quarterback, but who has the cojones and the wherewithal to play in big games, big moments.
Right.
You don't have to have an elite level quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now. Now, if you do, then that's great.
Right.
You can still win with a really good quarterback if you have the pieces around him.
Right.
So I just feel like, I'm going down to Jimmy Garoppolo. I like Sam Darnold. I just don't know if we're going to get what he was last year. Out of his, let's guess, 7 years he's played in the NFL, we saw 1 year of that of Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
That's like a guy playing really good, and then 1 year he makes the Pro Bowl. And you go, oh, man,
like
he's
Snoop
great.
Huntley.
And you go, no, do not fall for the okie doke. As much as I like him, he's going to be an average quarterback. And then when you see him play with this offensive line, at least I hope a little bit better, somewhat like the one he had in those playoffs in the end of the season when he got pressure, he became just what we thought he was. See, he went right back to the norm. So that's what I'm afraid of. I'm not taking a risk for that. So to me, then, if I don't have the pieces, why take that risk? Go after these other veteran guys who are solid players. It's not going to be something that everybody's going to get all excited about. That, by the way.
Yeah.
But guess what? They're going to be super motivated. I want to see them compete, and hopefully it brings the best out of them. Then it brings the best out of the team. I continue to add pieces around because my ultimate goal is the end game is when we get into the stadium that I then eventually have my franchise quarterback.
And Sam Darnold still buys you that time to do it.
Yeah, I don't want to pay that price.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm getting at.
I don't think the price is going to be as high as what everybody thinks.
It's going to be $40 million or more. Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I guarantee you'll be under $40 million per
What
year.
did Baker Mayfield get? It'll be more than that.
He got, I think, like 35 or 33.
So it'll be a little
I'll have
bit
that
more
answer
there.
because we got to go to the break real quick. When we come back, we'll wrap up that conversation, but we'll also play a clip from Jameis Winston talking about special teams. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here, 105 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. Last call for phone call, 615-737-1045. You want to get in on the conversation. And Jameis Winston was a media darling, a Super Bowl star this week. He was all over New Orleans. You saw all kinds of videos of him, of having conversations and all this kind of stuff. And he is an option for the Tennessee Titans. An option, not a good option, maybe. He likes to throw a lot of interceptions, but he would be a fun option.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, is that everybody will talk about and blow up a clip of him talking about wanting to play for the Tennessee Titans. He's had 2 clips now, and people blow it up on Twitter. What they fail to include are all the times that he's asked about other teams, and then he says the same exact thing about the other team. Because he's smart.
Yeah, he not a ding-dong.
But I will have to say this. I want to talk about this clip. He's talking to Bert Kreischer, a comedian, kind of a famous comedian and everything like that. And they're in the stands. They have several conversations. But this conversation about special teams, and it's a little lengthy of a clip, but it's well worth it, is the wildest description of special teams I have ever heard. So this is Jameis Winston talking to Bert Kreischer last night in the stands at the Super Bowl.
Terrifying. It is, man. I think special teams in general is very terrifying. Especially, can you imagine looking at the moon and you have 11 ostriches running at you full speed, and you have a piece of corn on the bottom of your chin. I can't imagine that. I mean, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine. What is that? You're looking at the moon. You got some corn on your chin, and 11 ostriches. Do ostriches eat corn? I don't know.
Yeah. And they also disembowel you with their claws. They cut you open from the center like dinosaurs.
What?
Yeah, they did it to Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash?
He got almost died by an ostrich. I think. You may want to Google that, yeah.
So, just in case you guys couldn't hear, he's asked if he's ever, caught a punt. And he says, I have. And he's like, and Bert says that is probably one of the most terrifying things I can think of on the NFL field is catching a punt. And he goes, okay, imagine this. You're looking up at the moon and you got 11 ostriches coming to run at you and you got corn on your chin. That's what it's like. And then they talk about Johnny Cash being attacked by ostriches and stuff. But that is wild. Like, that's such a wild description, but it also kind of makes sense. Like, you're talking about you're looking up at the moon, looking up for the ball, not really seeing what's in front of you, and then you got like 11 ostriches coming for your gut just to disembowel you.
Oh, my. Yeah, Jameson would be entertaining. Watch this. I wouldn't even oppose him.
I wouldn't oppose it, I guess, but I just don't think it's going to get you what you need.
Oh, no, we're going to get, exactly what you get out of them. Some highs and some lows. You never know. He may luck you into some wins and be like, oh, okay, he wasn't too bad. I don't know, man. This guy's hilarious.
He was wild all weekend.
Yeah, he might have got him a job there in commentating.
Hey, listen, I would rather listen to him commentate in the booth other than Tom Brady. All right, let's go to the phone calls and go to Josh, who wants to talk about the quarterback situation. Josh, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
All I got to say is the New York Giants got to get Joe Shane the hell out of New York.
Is that really all you got to say? I thought you wanted to talk about the quarterback.
No, it's all over. We're screwed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what. Clip that one off, I guess. It's all over. We're screwed. Put that in the promo. So I guess he doesn't really care about the quarterback situation. I guess he was.
He did when he was talking to me.
So what did he say to you?
He said, I'm just unsure about the quarterback situation for the Titans heading into 2025.
There you go. Well, I mean,
that's
there
not
you go.
what he said on the air.
Yeah, not what he said on the air.
No, I'd rather have Winston than Stafford or Rodgers.
Who said that?
Richard Taylor.
Richard Taylor in the chat. Oh, he says at least we'll go down in a blaze of fun.
Yes.
So like I get it. I get it. Like listen, if you're going to lose regardless and everybody's getting fired regardless, you might as well just have fun doing it.
Yeah.
And Jameis Winston.
Entertainment.
Yeah, Jameis Winston's entertainment value.
You might go 2-15, but it'll be a fun ride.
Yeah. Like I mean, he may throw, 30 interceptions and 25 touchdowns, but at least we'll get some. Could you imagine the conversations Jameis Winston and Will Levis could have? Because we've talked about Aaron Rodgers and Will Levis in the conversation. But Jameis Winston and Will Levis would be hilarious.
I don't know, man. I want to hear Jameis Winston ask him about mayonnaise.
Yeah.
And the whole banana deal.
That would be hilarious.
And the cologne and whatever.
Well, one guy eats bananas with the pills on, the other guy eats W's, right? Remember that little clip from Jameis Winston? All right, that will do it for us here on Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons. We'll talk about tomorrow the trade talks and all that stuff surrounding the Tennessee Titans and the number 1 overall pick and all that kind of stuff. 3HL's up next. They're at Modern's, what's it called? What's a Peace and Day Salon?
A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa.
Yeah, I was close.
Attaboy.
I've heard it pronounced both ways. They're live down there doing their show from over there. But other than that, this has been Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. And in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.